How's it going, everyone? I'm going to try to make this quick. I'm going to make a separate video sometime before the season starts about my general thoughts of our draft and general thoughts just about, our schedule that got released, opening the season versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. Things like that. But for now, I have just a very important message that I want to try to connect and get out there with as many Cowboys fans as possible about these next 3 months. This part of the offseason, post draft, where there's nothing going on but OTAs and training camp, you're going to get a lot of reports about very good things that people are seeing from training camp, like, today, Tony Pollard is, getting more snaps with the offense, and he and Ezekiel Elliott are on the field at the same time. Whoopee, and Mike McCarthy last week. The other day I clocked Ezekiel Elliott and he was going 22 miles an hour. It's like, this will be the season that Ezekiel Elliott will come back and, make a huge return and all that. Do not buy any of it. Do not buy any of that optimism that they're going to give you, because the motive of that is to get asses in the seats for the season opener versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? These next 3 months leading up to the preseason exist to build up optimism for the fans, to get them excited, even if we had the worst offseason in the NFL, of all time. And I'm not saying we did, I'm just saying hypothetically, these 3 months will change an entire fan base's mind. Okay, especially if you have a fan base as optimistic as ours, okay? And we had a bad offseason. I'm saying this because our offense was horrid last year. We had a bad offseason, and I really want to stress getting this out immediately because it's already starting. Cynthia Freeland from NFL Network recently put out her top 10 list for, the offenses in the NFL as of right now. And she had the Dallas Cowboys at number 8. This led Law Nation to come out on Instagram to make a short video talking about it. It was like a minute long, and he said, we lost Amari Cooper, all right, and we lost Lyle Collins, all right, but our offense was ranked number 1 in the league last year. Whew! And I lost my shit. I was furious, and I let him know about that in the comments section, and I said, just say you didn't watch any of our games last year after the bye week, because I'm going to give you guys a brief reminder. If you guys remember, after the bye week, we only had 3 games where our offense looked somewhat competent. The Falcons, Washington, in Dallas, and Philadelphia on the road, the last game of the regular season. All the other games, and I'm not going to include the Vikings game on Halloween because Cooper Rush was our starting quarterback. All the other games, however, the Broncos looked like shit. The Chiefs, we looked like shit. The Raiders, the Saints, the Giants on the road, Washington on the road, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. All of those games, our offense was abysmal. Absolutely atrocious. Less than dirt offense. But how are we statistically ranked first? I believe, this is just my theory, I believe that our statistically number 1 ranked offense was the product of having the second easiest schedule in the league beating bad teams early in the season, generating those stats, and having the defense that led the league in takeaways. I think that's what gave us statistically the best offense in the NFL. I think that's what gave us that title, okay? I told Law Nation pretty much straight up, you didn't watch any of our fucking games after the bye week last year. Because our offense was terrible. Terrible. And he replied and he said, oh, so we should add subjective thoughts into statistics now? How would that work? Dude, you give context. You give context as to how that is, okay? Second easiest schedule in the league and having the defense that created the most takeaways, that's pretty important, and that's pretty telling of how exactly we got the number one ranked offense in the NFL, especially considering how terrible we looked last year in that second half, okay? If you had an average football viewer watch any of those games that we looked terrible that I just mentioned, if you showed him any of those games and then told him after, by the way, this was the number one ranked offense in the NFL last season, he would look at you like you're dumb, okay? He would look at you like you're a delusional Cowboys fan, which is why that context is important. So when you just say, oh, well, our offense is better than number 8 in the league right now because last year it was ranked number 1 in the league, you're misleading your audience. You're being dishonest to your huge Dallas Cowboys audience, Law Nation. You're being dishonest. And that's irresponsible as a fucking Cowboys content creator. Okay? That's dishonest. You're misleading your fan base, and that's evidenced by how a couple of his followers responded to me when I was calling him out in the comments section. There were 2 people that replied to me and said, dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about because, just repeating what Law Nation said, basically. We had the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL last year. Oh, okay. I guess I just misheard that part. Okay. Yeah, I guess our offensive struggles and our huge collapse mid-season, that was just a figment of my imagination. That's what you're saying, right? But you're also saying that was a figment of Amari Cooper's imagination also. You're gaslighting him too, and you're saying that he just imagined that because he literally came out after the Arizona Cardinals game last year and said that we had to take more advantage of the opportunities that our offense is given. He acknowledged that our offense was not performing, and he responded to it by saying that we have to do better. So you're saying you're gaslighting me and you're gaslighting Amari Cooper too because, oh, well, Law Nation said that we had the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL last year, which we did. Statistically, number 1 ranked offense, sure, but stats, you shouldn't take stats as gospel. You shouldn't just look at a stat or give out a stat as is and have people base assumptions solely off of that stat. Because when you say that, you're implying that, oh, well, we had the number 1 ranked offense in the league last year, so surely it was consistent and it was the undisputed best offense in the league, And it definitely came through for us in the games that we really needed them to. Yeah, this was the best offense in the NFL last year. You're being dishonest and you're misleading your fan base, and your fan base right now is fooling themselves into thinking that our offense was good last year, okay? And you know what's funny? I don't know if you guys remember this, but late November or early to mid-December last year, Cowboys fans were actually making up conspiracies in order to defend Kellen Moore and continue to portray him as this offensive Jesus, right? Because they were actually saying, oh, well, we're not going to pull out the whole playbook against teams like Washington or the Giants or the Saints. So we're looking like shit because we're saving the rest of our playbook until the postseason. So just wait until then. You just don't know what strategy is. Kellen Moore is a genius, you guys. So I was like, okay, we'll see what happens, in the postseason. That day, right before the game, I said, Kellen Moore, this fucking game is make it or break it. If we see the same offensive production that we've seen the last 2 months, if I'm Will McClay or if I'm Stephen Jones, your ass is fucking out of Dallas. Same exact offensive performance in the last 2 months. So 2 months, Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore both knew that our offense was spiraling out of control, swirling down the toilet, and they did nothing about it to make it better or prepare them for the postseason. They did nothing about it. So now optimism is being built up because Cowboys fans are fooling themselves into thinking that our offense was good last year and that on paper our offense is still good, guys. On paper, this is a pretty solid offense. Fuck off. Not just Law Nation, but Cowboys content creators, y'all have to do better. Y'all have to stop misleading your fucking audience and stop building up this dishonest feeling of hope for this season. I forgot the goddamn word. But you have to stop misleading your audience. Do better, all of you Cowboys content creators. This is disgusting. Do better. I'm fucking out.